Had this piece laid up inside the car and got a pretty good estimate of how big the piece needs to be that I'm making. So now I'm going to take this piece apart and I will actually draw my bend lines onto this piece of sheet metal that I cut out, and we're just going to start going at it with the English wheel. Alright, I got a pretty good start on this thing. It's kind of hard to see in the light, but there's quite a curve going up into that corner. I need to lay that down a little bit more. It's actually holding in place right now with just a couple of little spring clips, so I'm getting really close. Alright, there's my two wing pieces. There's the passenger one, all nice and formed around. Did a nice little bead roll around it so I can hide the screws on the bottom. And same thing on that side, they match perfectly. So now I'm going to start working on this piece in the middle, which will be way easier. It's got a slight curve in it from the side, if you look here. And then other than that, I've got to trace the bottom of the window part out and figure out attachments. So let's go run that through the roller and get that piece in. Center piece is all shaped and in place. I just got it held in with a couple of clamps. So I think what I'm going to end up doing on that piece is putting two little notches on the back, spot welding them on, and then that will just slide into place. Okay, that fits perfect along there. Actually too perfect. I'm gonna have to cut the ends back about 1/8 of an inch because these are getting wrapped. So right now there won't be enough room for any of the leather or anything to go in between. But yeah, that looks freaking beautiful. I started mapping out the piece that's going to go up over both of these doors, and this is my first piece to go up over the passenger side compartment. A lot of trimming and everything to do, but I ran it through the English wheel for a minute just to get a little bit of that curve, and we're going to start trimming and tucking and figuring that piece out. And then I've already got a start on the piece for the other side. All said and done, that piece going up over the passenger side has whittled down to something like this. And drill some holes and get some screws in it and get it mounted, and see if I need to add any more attachment points to it or if that's just going to work. And then I might have to do a little refining to this top edge to make sure I've got that consistent like 5/8 gap that I've got on the rest of everything. But other than that, it looks pretty good. It's much smaller than I had imagined it was going to be when it was all said and done. A little worried as I was whittling that we were going too far, but it's looking perfect. So let's get this screwed into place. I'll show you what it looks like in the truck. All right, here is the piece up over the door. Ties right into that wing piece beautifully. It's all screwed in above the door with some little 6s, and that should hide really nicely behind the little piece of fold over trim we're planning on putting there. Ties right into the header piece up front, and then we've got a nice gap even all the way across the top. These are the last 2 panels for the center console. This is the passenger and the driver. These are the access panels for each side underneath the dash. And you got a little goofy little line up there. That is for these. And those are going to actually relocate the 2 center vent balls down on the side, which will give us a ton more room up here underneath the screen for anything else that the owner wants to incorporate. Alright, so we got my nice little slot for that to slide into the center console there. This is all cut out for the heater vent. And then I'm going to trim this reveal down just a little bit on this edge to make it a little bit easier to go up underneath the center panels. And then all I got to do is a couple of tabs on the back on that frame, and this should be good to go. All right, here are the beginnings of the door. This is the driver's side. These are those 2 little sections that need to be filled in top where the vent window used to live. The window crank needs to be filled in, and that flute needs to carry through, so that looks like that was never there because we're going with the electric windows. And then there's some pinholes and messes and old patchwork down at the bottom of this door that I'm going to get cut out and get a new piece of metal put in. So we're going to get rolling on that. We'll get the track put in for the electric window, get this door all cleaned up, and get the door panel built. And then we can move on to the 2 panels behind the seats back here and getting a headliner board built. Bottom of the door has its second round of tacks going in. It is nice and straight. Everything's working out beautifully. I did notice when I cut the panel loose that there was a lot of tension here, so this top part of the door actually popped in when I cut it loose. So before I started welding, I took the crimper and I pulled the bottom edge out, got it as flat as possible, and then I got these tacks and the metal nice and tight all the way along here. So I'm not too concerned with the bottom and the 2 sides because they're getting welded right to a 90, but I want to keep the heat to a minimum on this seam here up in the center of the door.
Yeah, no, burned out.
Went ahead, yanked the seats out of the inside of the cab, and tomorrow we can start working on these boards for the back here and the headliner board. All right, we have been getting a lot done the last couple of days in the truck. If you look up here, we actually have the headliner board installed and a few little notes around on the metal trim pieces on what we need to trim and fix up and smooth out so that those will look really nice when they get wrapped and everything will line up perfectly. I got the first of the rear panels put into place. We ended up having to soak those things with water and lay a brick on them against the wall so that we could get that curve, because they were just not going to curve around that corner straight off the shelf. Very happy with all of that. Everything is fitted, trimmed, looking nice. So now I'm just gonna hit up and do the last little bit of adjustment with these three center pieces here, and we do have the printer rolling, so we should have the rest of the center console pieces and bezels and stuff in here in no time. So this is what we've gotten done on the interior now. We are super close to having everything absolutely perfect. The headliner is in. All of the rear panels that surround the window and up over the door are all in and fitted and attached the way they're going to be, ready to get wrapped in leather. Center console's tied in. I made sure that all of the ridges and overhangs on the back window fit so that the rubber gasket will seal up and really trim this off nicely. Seats are exactly where we want them, mounted to the floor, ready to go. We have the center tray, coin tray, done in the center, and that houses the remote for the air ride, and it snaps into place so you can easily get to it while you're driving or parking as well. The gauge or the shifter bezel is done and fitted how we want it. Cup holders are in. This is the revised screen bezel that's got a slight curve across the top and across the front to match the gauge bezels. And the storage armrest compartment is done. There's a lot of room. It's like 6 inches deep. Closes and locks really nicely. All of the panels on the center console are completely done. It's a lot, but it looks fantastic. And I'll run the camera around and get a close-up on a few of these things for you.